Indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Richie. Good to be with you. We got a lot on the agenda today. Hope you had a great holiday celebration if you celebrate such. And if you do not, I hope you had some time to relax. Joining me today, none other than the incomparable Senator Nina Turner. Always fascinating to have her brilliance on the program. Top story of the day. Hell of a thing. Donald Trump decides to literally bomb a town in Nigeria that has nothing to do with his proclamation of his illegal war. Let's get into it. All right, put it up. Here we go. I want you to look at the bloodshed that can come from such carnage. War is about two things: killing people and blowing things up. We call it war. Here's a statement from residents of that community.
Residents near a village targeted by U.S. airstrikes in northwestern Nigeria on Thursday night recounted the moment their village shook. They did not learn what had hit their quiet village until later when news broke that what they had witnessed was a U.S. attack on an alleged Islamic State camp. We saw when something passed above like lightning, and we thought it was at the back of our village. We saw it, and then it dropped and burst into flames. So we started calling people from Kajiji to ask them what happened. They told us it happened between Jabo and Kagara towns. U.S. President Donald Trump announced late Thursday that he had authorized a strike against an ISIS camp in northwest Nigeria. President said Jobo had never seen any attack by armed groups.
The first casualty of war is truth. That is the first casualty of war. Trump is doing everything he can do to escalate actual conflict, to deflect from his failed policies, both personal and presidential. So he gives you targets, hopes that you take the bait. On the other side of these targets are actual human beings, souls inside of human bodies. He proclaims lies in order to sell you a fairy tale. That's truly a nightmare. You know it. Even if there's someone watching this who voted for Trump and you were down with MAGA, I didn't hear you say bomb Nigeria. I never heard you say we must go to war with Nigeria. I did not hear you talk about colonization of other sovereign nations. I heard you talk about domestic control, local small government, staying out of the affairs of other countries. I heard you say that, but I did not hear you say this. Put up that picture again. It's a cowardly act and an illegal act. When President Trump launched a series of airstrikes in Nigeria, he described it as an attack against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria who have been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians, end quote. He concluded, quote, "May God bless our military and Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if their slaughter of Christians continues." He made the announcement on Christmas Day. To anybody who celebrates the holiday, which by the way is a compound word that means holy day, for anyone who believes in the separation of church and state. For anyone who is an Orthodox Christian, this is a rare opportunity. If you happen to be an atheist, but you care about human beings, which makes you good in my camp all day. This is a rare opportunity. We are all in agreement. We're all in alignment. Innocent people shouldn't die. I would have believed in a cold day in hell before I thought Tucker Carlson would be a moral voice at a conservative rally. But it happened. That's how extreme this party has become. That the guy who used to define the extreme, used to define the polarity of extremism, is now the voice of reason inside of that same party. There's more. Put it up. So let's get into it. All right. The locals in the town that was hit during the strike say terrorism was never a problem for them. On Friday, CNN published a report based on interviews with multiple residents of Jabo, which was hit by a U.S. missile during Thursday's attack, which landed just feet away from the town's only hospital. The rural town of Jabo is part of Sokoto state in northwestern Nigeria, which the Trump administration and the Nigerian government said was hit during the strike. Both sides have said militants were killed during the attack, but have not specified their identities or the number of casualties. Kabir Aduma, a security analyst from Beacon Security and Intelligence in Abuja, told Al Jazeera that the likely targets are members of Lukura, a recently formed offshoot of ISIS, according to the analysis. But the Trump administration, their explanation is that their home is at the center, of a quote, Christian genocide. Yes, Christian genocide left many residents confused, as CNN reported, while parts of the community face challenges with banditry, kidnappings, and attacks by armed groups, including the alleged terrorist organization, which Nigeria classifies as a terrorist organization due to suspected affiliation with Islamic State villagers. Says Jabo is not known for terrorist activity and that local Christians coexist peacefully in the Muslim majority. Let's go back a little bit. Let's go back. I had the privilege of being invited to lecture in Egypt a couple of years ago. That's Africa. And what you will notice as you travel throughout the region is that the Christians and the Muslims live in peace. They're right there. You know them by their attire, sometimes by their greeting. But there is no conflict. There is no clicking against the other. There is absolutely no territorial dispute in these nations when they coexist in a peaceful manner because of the civilization that they have decided to have. Understand what the Trump administration has done. The Nigerian government literally fights that actual terrorist group that they have classified under their authority as a nation, as a terrorist organization. You have Trump, who has now decided to go against the government, who is against the terrorist organization, by unilaterally bombing that nation and defying the rules of sovereign government. There's more. Put it up. Bashar Issa Jabo a lawmaker who represents the town and surrounding areas in Nigeria's parliament, described the village to CNN as a peaceful community that has, quote, no known history of ISIS, Lakurawa, or any other terrorist groups operating in the area, end quote. While the town is predominantly Muslim, resident Kagara told reporters, we see Christians as our brother. We don't have religious conflicts. So we weren't expecting this, end quote. Nigeria, which is Africa's most populous nation, with more than 237 million people, has a long history of violence between Christians and Muslims, with each making up about half of the population, 237 million. So it takes a lot of self-determination to live in peace, which these regions have done. And they have done so successfully for many years. Trump comes in, creates an artificial conflict, drops a real bomb, tries to sell it to America. Very similar approach to almost every war we've had with other nations. There's more. Put them up. Go ahead and put up the good senator here. But Nigerian officials have disputed claims by Republican leaders, including U.S. Senator Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz out of Texas. Now, Ted Cruz, who claimed that the government is, quote, ignoring and even facilitating the mass murder of Christians. I want you to understand who's saying this. Is it rank and file members of the U.S. military? Do you have your lifers in the intelligence agencies proclaiming this? Has any other administration brought this to the forefront in this manner? Hell no. You have politicians saying this, politicians who are simply selling you a bill of goods and their lies. There's more. Okay. The senator recently claimed, without citing any source whatsoever, for the figures that since 2009, over 50,000 Christians in Nigeria have been massacred, and over 18,000 churches and 2,000 Christian schools have been destroyed by the Islamic group Boko Haram. Cruz is correct in this, that many Christians have been killed by Boko Haram, but according to the reports by the US-based Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project and the Council on Foreign Relations, the majority of the approximately 53,000 civilians killed by the group since 2009 have actually been Muslim. They've been Muslim. He got his numbers right, but he got the target wrong. They have been of the Islamic faith. There's more. Put them up. Moreover, the areas where Boko Haram is most active are in northeastern areas of Nigeria. The administration knows this. Far away from where Trump decided to conduct this attack. Attacks on Christians cited in October by Cruz, meanwhile, have been in Nigeria's Middle Belt region, which is separate from the violence in the north. The Nigerian government has pushed back on what they have called an oversimplified narrative coming out of the White House and from figures in the US media like HBO host Bill Maher, who has echoed Cruz's overall claims of Christian genocide. Bill lost his way a long time ago. Let's put him up. Quote, portraying Nigeria's security challenges as a targeted campaign against a single religious group is a gross misrepresentation of reality, said Nigerian Information Minister Muhammad Idris Malagi. Quote, while Nigeria, like many countries, has faced security challenges, including acts of terrorism perpetrated by criminals, couching the situation as a deliberate systemic attack on Christians is inaccurate and harmful, and literally the administration and the cronies are proclaiming that the government is, in fact, facilitating the attacks. One other point that's not mentioned in some of the articles is that a large percentage of Christians actually work for the government. Yeah. This is sad beyond belief. Trump is out of control only because the people around him allow it. He's a weak and unsteady man. He's paranoid, constant. And the fact that he's trying to get you to forget the reality of his failures shows you how much power you have. Because he knows that if you figure out that he has never been the man he's proclaimed to be, that every sand, every piece of sand in his artificial castle falls. All right. This is the thoughts here.
Yeah, Dr. Richie, so much to unpack here. I mean, you laid a tremendous foundation. I'm taking notes about some certain points I want to make. The first point, to your point about Nigeria being a sovereign nation. That's first and foremost.
First, yep.
And I want Americans to imagine if Nigeria just upped and said, you know what, the United States of America is anti-Muslim. We just gonna start bombing places. How we would feel as Americans being a sovereign nation. But most likely Nigeria would never do that because they know they're outgunned for sure, outbombed for sure, because we have more in our arsenal than the next 10 militaries combined in the entire world. But that's number one, it's a sovereign nation. Number two, the village is not known for any type of terrorism. I mean, Doc, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. People in this country who have a moral compass of any type, as you laid out, you ain't got to be a Christian to have one, should be absolutely outraged. They want to talk about Christian genocide, but I didn't hear these same people talking about that when Christians were being maimed and killed in Israel. Hello, somebody. I didn't hear them talking this kind of talk about the genocide that was happening in the Gaza. Because if you're anti-genocide, let's just be anti-genocide all the way around. Then President Trump ran as a faux populist. One of the things he said that he was going to do is stop wars. He rightly criticized President Biden over war making, but yet he is not only not doing anything about it, he's putting gasoline on all the fires. So just think about that. I'm really outraged. And then we got a tax on Christians here was another thought that came to mind when they were talking about they're gonna sit up there and protect Christians. What about the Christians in this country that don't have health care? What about the Christians in this country who can't afford their rent or their mortgage? What about the Christians in this country who can't afford childcare? And I'm being very sarcastic, Doc, when I say Christians, because this is a matter of humanity. But while they're spending our tax dollars and making, just stirring up more enemies for the United States of America, you're not even showing the requisite charity at home in the United States of America. Doc, this is an outrage. Let me tell you something. The scramble for the continent of Africa has been ongoing by European or imperialized colonistic type nations since the beginning. And so I am not surprised that in 2025 that this kind of behavior is continuing. And my last point on all the magnificent points you made, because I could keep going on this, is that I do believe that this is a foil for the president's failures. The American people should be disappointed for many reasons. One, an attack on a sovereign nation. 2, this president lied during his campaigning. And 3, they wasted our tax dollars going after innocent people in other countries where that money could be spent domestically. And the 4th point, Doc, where in the hell is the United States Congress? And why have they abdicated their responsibility to be a check and a balance on the executive branch of government? And let me make a 5th point. Bill Maher, yes, lost his way a long time ago. And let me tell you something, even if that kind of activity was going on in that village, even if it was, but we know that it's not, but even if it was, we go back to point number 1. Nigeria is a sovereign nation, and let that nation take care of that. Unless they called us up and said 911 America, and we say, what's your emergency? And they say they need some help from us, then we should not be in their affairs in this way. Doc, this is unfathomable.
Yeah, and to echo your point about how everybody, Christian and non-Christian, should be outraged by this. The man decided to do it on Christmas Day. Please understand. 1, this was about resources in the Nigerian region. 2, he does it on a day that he doesn't respect. It's just a branding day for him. It's another opportunity to brand. So he does it on Christmas Day. If you happen to be a Christian, Orthodox or non-Orthodox, I recall when they came to arrest Yeshua, to lock him up. One of the disciples took a sword and cut off the officer's ear to protect Yeshua. Yeshua says, no, this is not our way. Heals the man's ear. This is in the scripture. And he becomes the passive radical, leading by example, non-conflict, non-combative transformation. He had folks that were armed with him, and he told them to put down their swords. That is the same Christ that the folk who championed this mess claim to follow. All right, we got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
What contributions to the progressive cause are you most proud of? I mean, I don't have super high aspirations for a singular role that I can play in the movement or anything. I try to present myself as what I think that I am, which is a progressive man who is driven by a, I think, well-interrogated and well-organized system of values that I try to stay consistent on, and I demonstrate that that's the sort of life that a person can lead and be successful and be happy and all of that. And that should not need to be done, but there are so many people on the right that are trying to push men in the opposite direction that I want to be able to do that. Along the way, if I can get people to care about some topics that they wouldn't necessarily care about, or that for some men they might think that's not a topic that they should be focused on, that's definitely something that I relish doing. And along the way, I mean, we've been able to introduce people to a lot of candidates. That's been a big part of what we've done. You know, not all of them necessarily got in office. Probably most of them did not. And a lot of them you might not even remember their names. But it was great to be able to provide people the platform where they had the chance of, you know, making a difference. Obviously AOC and all that, but there's been a lot of great people along the way.
In the bonus episode for the members, we do some inside baseball. We're gonna look at John's desk. Nice little spaceship here. Nerd. But it is kind of look cool. Who has Legos? Oh no. He's taking apart a keyboard. Who has a mouse pad that's this big? He's got a dog with a nose that you can hang something on. You know what this desk screams to me? Nerd. And that's how we like him. We love Johnny Pie. He's got his own personality like everybody does at TYT. Come meet us all in the bonus episodes. TYT.com/team.
David Sorrell, Anita Turner,
Adam Green drop by.
Charlemagne.
Congressman, great to have you. It's great to be with you, Chang.
Your show is a great thing. You're informing people. A lot of the shows that I live on, my CNN, my MSNBC, and even Fox, and any of the other shows, NPR, they are so quick to decide that they know what this building means today.
The one thing that I hate that politicians do, they talk about the people they should be talking to.
Do they have any idea that they're the establishment and that they're hated, or do they not realize that at all?
People are so deeply in their little universe. I think it's very easy to not really question what you're doing.
Voters have a right to ask questions of any nominee, whether they're independent, Republican, or Democrat.
The system is duopoly that suppresses competition.
How is it the year 2024 and we're still like, maybe they'll talk about paid medical? Like how is that like at one level it's like, good, what we're talking about it now. You're like, it's 2024.
And that's always been the critique, that your critique of us is, well, you guys give good speeches, you put out good tweets, but you're not wielding actual power. Now we're starting to.
My favorite news platform by far. It's not even close.
It's about a country and a principle, and that's what you and I both work to achieve. And I'm so glad that at least half the battle has now been won.
If you want to go really hear what's going on, honestly, you should tune into the Young Turks.
Thanks for doing such a great job. Please keep it up. Hang tough.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy.
Oh, I like making you happy.
I didn't know about that.
This is a happy Anna Kasparian. You're welcome, YouTube.
Join the Dragon Squad by becoming a YouTube channel member. Click the join button below or sign up on tyt.com/join to get access to fun emojis, a member-only chat, exclusive shop TYT designs, ad-free watching, and so many other amazing perks. Plus, you get bragging rights for being part of the coolest community on the internet and help us drive real positive change in the world. The Dragon Squad awaits, so join today.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. What if I told you that the KKK is going through a rebrand? Yes, a rebranding. Here it is.
People think you got to be a Klan member to come to our church, and we're a church.
This is Thomas Robb, the Grand Wizard of the KKK, or as he likes to put it, the National Director. See, the Ku Klux Klan is currently going through a rebrand. Instead of calling themselves the KKK, they now call themselves the Knights Party. And Thomas Robb doesn't like to call himself the Grand Wizard. Instead, he's chosen a more subtle PR approach, the National Director.
We don't have a sign, everybody welcome, because everybody's not welcome to our church. There's
something that no one has ever really talked about is the fact that Thomas Robb is not only the Grand Wizard of the KKK, he's also a pastor.
I have more footage, but the fact that the Ku Klux Klans have a church is already disturbing. And their church isn't a welcome all church. Let's not go that far. But you don't necessarily have to be a Klansman to come and worship white Jesus at the KKK church. There's more.
I asked him if a black man could go to heaven, and this is Thomas Robb deflecting that question for 13 minutes.
The Bible doesn't address black people hardly at all.
So does that mean then, so your belief is the Bible was written by white people to white people?
In modern terms, written by Israelites.
I mean, that's a very generic way of putting it, but yeah.
Written by Israelites to Israel.
So would an Israeli be welcome in your church?
Probably not.
Y'all, the man basically said Jesus would not be welcomed in the Church of Jesus. That's how racist this man is. He wouldn't allow Jesus in the church, but will worship a white version of Jesus on a picture. Now that's called racist dedication. And he was honest. He said, probably not. All right, put it at full mass. So let me explain the rebranding here, okay? Makes it kind of worse in my opinion, but journalist Josh White did a great job, interviewed this Klansman named Thomas Robb. Thomas Robb, he wants to be known as the National Director. He wants to get rid of this Grand Wizard thing. That's just for behind closed doors. But to the public, he's your National Director. A regular nonprofit outreach organization for the white man. That's what he wants you to believe. And I want you to know you don't necessarily have to be in the Klan in order to worship white Jesus with them. And so he wants to extend an olive branch, not to people of color, and not even to brown people, but white Aryan. That's it. But you don't have to be a Klansman. All right, put it back up. The journalist's face, I got to give it to him. He kept a straight face during this whole thing because there were some answers here that would have sent many of us into a place where our facial expression would have betrayed us, okay? You can find Josh White's full interview, KKK leader of Thomas Robb, at Josh White on Threads. Very thankful for his leadership. In his post on Threads, White would recap some key parts of his interview with Robb. Quote, when I asked where his racist views came from, he started to trace American history all the way back to Abraham in the Bible. To Robb, America's true story doesn't start in 1776. It starts with God's covenant with white Europeans because in his mind, Israelites in the Bible were white. This is how easily racism gets wrapped into systematic bias theology. You know, when he says black people aren't discussed in the Bible, can I say so? I gotta say this, because every person who has ever gone to a seminary class knows that even during that time, people were identified by family and region. Jesus of Nazareth, the Nazarene. The region where you from, the Canaanite, the area for the migration, the wilderness, the promised land. These are regions. These regions develop names. Even the nomadic regions from what we understand as Jacob being renamed into Israel, having 12 children known as the 12 tribes of Israel. And out of the tribe or the land region or the nomadic culture of Judah came the Christ through the lineage of that union. Now, all of this has to do with landmass, family structure, culture. They didn't refer to people by skin color like we do. But it is clear that they are people of color, because the few references of color, all of the references are black. From the Book of Solomon all the way to the description of Jesus in Revelation. Senator, his racism runs deep. What say you to this new brand of the KKK? You can be white, but not necessarily a Klansman and still come to our church.
It should be labeled as a terrorist group, Doc. With all seriousness.
That's right.
Just go on. Hey, President Trump.
Yeah.
Your administration should just go ahead and label the KKK as a terrorist group, because that is exactly what it has been historically and what it is now. It is a terrorist group. This is a reason why people like him need to have teachers who teach the real history, both on the theology side, but also just on the plain history side. Now, I call on Black Jesus when it's serious. That's the one I call on. Yes. And your references to the Bible, hair wool, feet of brass, not white, okay? That is for sure. But I call on Black Jesus specifically because in this country, they have made God white. And therefore, if you are not white and can never be white, then somehow God has made them superior. This man is just repeating the nonsense that imperialists have used to conquer peoples of color. But even if we just stick with this country and what happened to Black folks, they use Christianity as a weapon against Black people. And there's Coptic Christianity in Egypt and other types of Christianity. There are also other versions of the Bible too, Dr. Ritchie, which I understand this guy doesn't know. But let me talk to him about Black people in heaven and how God would feel about that. Now, first of all, what would Jesus do? None of this foolishness this man is talking about, but you hit the nail on the head. Jesus ain't even welcome.
Right.
But I will put that in the parking lot. This is the historian in me coming out. There is a concept known as mitochondrial E. And that DNA is found on the continent of Africa, meaning the original mother of all humankind originated on the continent known as Africa. I double dog dare him to look up mitochondrial Eve and mitochondrial DNA. So he might be shocked to know that Black women are the mothers of all.
That's right. The Black woman is the mother, the cradle of civilization. That's according to science.
That's according to science.
The biodiversity, and this isn't being racially insensitive. The biodiversity inside of the Black genome of the female mitochondria is the strand, or contains the strands, that allows for the DNA replication of anything. When I say anything, I mean any hue of color. Any hue of color. So that becomes the prerequisite to the conversation that most are unwilling to have, I'm okay with it. As a matter of fact, I love it. And we should all love a woman, period, because we all got here by one. All right, we got more on the other side. Indisputable Stick and Stay.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to Big Pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor or concern for whose toes we might step on or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
You are the media revolution. You are much needed.
TYT, TYT.
The place is like 95% TYT on.
You guys, the Young Turks, which is my favorite channel, we're getting that message out.
Frank and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
People who support us on the internet, that's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning. They seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. Let me read a few of these comments. Before I do that, don't forget our brand partner, Noble Mobile. Very simple. $50 a month, unlimited data. If you don't use data like that, you get that money back cash. That's right, it goes to your pocket rather than, well, the big stakeholders. It's a good deal for anyone who wants to switch. Very simple. TYT.com/switch. TYT.com/switch. When you sign up, you get a $50 sign-up bonus. Switch to Noble Mobile by visiting TYT.com/switch or check out the QR code in front of you. Okay. We got a lot of comments. I'll read as many as I can. Very thankful. Guam will capsize dragon. Christianity has too much Joel and not enough Jesus. Disruptor Plus. Happy Kwanzaa, y'all. Happy Kwanzaa. Celebrating the union of the African-American principles for Kwanzaa. Teo _1790. He is definitely not America first. Wisdom Reborn 68 says, Doc and Nita, happy to see both of you today, and we are happy that you are here. Thank you for that. Member for 42 months, thank you for this. Bernie the Kiwi Dragon 4382. Do you know why their hoods are pointy? It's because they are draped over dunce caps. That is great. Racism is stupid. There are no two ways about it. That's well said. I like that. Taylor Shelton 3267. Hello, everybody. Hello back to you. And I think this is Ill Advised 9732. Good morning, Indisputables. Good morning back to you. Leanne 15. Amen, Nina. That's right. And Love 18 White Girl, the anti-war president starting wars to hide the Epstein files. That's all he's doing. That's it. His failed personal and presidential policies. Jesse Carey, I believe, 500. I love Nina on Monday. We love her too. That's why she's here. And Shiny 948. Hi, Doc and Nina. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to you. And Green New Dilla Dragon. I'm trying to do the same thing here, Green New Dilla Dragon. Nina 2028. What we gonna do, Senator?
Don't play with it now. It just might happen. It just might happen. You heard it here first.
There you go. All right. We greatly appreciate all that you do. Well, got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Yeah?
Sexy, get in here. Watch out, Crystal. Charles, move. Hey, put this to record.
Oh, you ain't got to record it.
Record.
They'll be over here in a minute.
Crystal, he's not doing nothing.
Show me what you got. Show me what you got. I'll harm you.
Stop.
Bitch! Ugly black ass and get the on. My mama owned your mama.
You said what?
Owned your mama.
Your mama owned my mama?
Hey, your mama served me food, you dumb.
Okay.
Okay.
I will harm you.
Put him up full mass. He's now famous. Sir, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't think you were part of the particular white people that owned other folk, to be quite honest with you. Number one, I think you would have been a hand in the field yourself because they didn't give a about you either. Because you're not rich, sir. So while you believe your whiteness qualifies your superiority against the family that you may have a conflict with, sir, it only shows the smallness of your mind and the inferior complex that you have about self because you see others through the lens of you. I hope somebody loves you. It's an opportunity for them to have an intervention with you, sir. Do better with your life. Senator, thoughts here?
It always, no, I shouldn't say that, Doc. I was going to say it always amazes me, but it doesn't amaze me. But you see how white people who think like this man always fall back on that. It's like automatic. It is like breathing to them. They don't even give it a second thought. Go back to Africa or to minimize and dehumanize the features and the worth of Black people. Or my mama owned your mama. Or fed, your mama fed us. You see, he didn't even hesitate. There was no hesitation in this man's mind to say those things to this Black lady. None. Because why? It is baked in. And the sooner America understands that, and your point about, I was thinking the same thing, Doc. Look, there were most white people did not own slaves. It was a small percentage. but the relative status of whiteness compelled poor white people then and poor white people like him now to think that his whiteness, therefore, no matter what his socioeconomic status is, therefore makes him superior. That relative status, the notion of relative status, is embedded in the DNA of white people in America. Not just white people, people who are socialized in this country. And unless you deconstruct your construction, whether you're white or other, you start to think in that same way. The nerve of him. But I was thinking the same thing, Doc. No, you wasn't one of them. Okay.
Right, yeah, he definitely was.
But the nerve of him to say, I mean, the boldness by which those words came out of his mouth should leave no doubt that there is a lot of truth and reconciliation that needs to happen in the United States of America. Every time you play stories like this, Doc, it is just a constant reminder. I am so glad that I wish the Karen Woods segment continues because it doesn't allow people to sleep. It allows people to understand that one, Black people are not making this up, and two, we have a problem. And until this problem is faced, you know, as James Baldwin, the great novelist of the 20th century, once said, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can change until it is faced. Until this type of anti-Black bigotry and white supremacy is faced, nothing is going to change.
You make such an intense and beautiful point. Some people think that this segment is about a laugh, and it's not. It provides a level of levity sometimes, but what it's about is the litmus test, because we can test the systems of justice by statistical data. We can test the systems of corporate America by statistical output of employment. But how do you test the social parameters that people interact with as it relates to racism, bigotry, et cetera? Well, you have to do that in the court of public opinion, because many of these things are not arrestable offenses. And to the story we just covered, they called the police on this guy, and the police did absolutely nothing. Why? Because the police can cite, listen, the guy was on his own property. Yeah, he's a racist, but he actually has a right to be racist, and he was on his own private property. So what court deals with him? Well, this one, the court of public opinion, deals with him. And that's why we do these segments. All right, I got something for you that's quite interesting. Alex Jones got words for Candace Owens. Here it is.
I'll just say it. Candace Owens is the new queen of black-pilled Q. It was white-pilled, insane Q that thought everything was fine and get your popcorn. And now the dark Q has risen. I don't say that because she's black. You know, it's like Fuentes goes, Jones is more hardcore now. He's dark Jones. Oh, dark Knight, dark Spider-Man. No, it's literally dark Q. I dub her the queen of dark Q, the empress of dark Q. You got the QAnon, you got the, Blue Anon, you now have Candace on. I remember saying to them, like I said, I got to investigate her now. I got a bad feeling. I didn't have a bad feeling. God gave me a good brain. I already knew. I dropped the ball. I apologize. She's a globalist agent. Because you want a war? I want your war. I want it all. I want the doxing. I want the lies. I want the attacks. I'm going to take you on. Because you work for the deep state and the Democratic Party and the CIA and MI6, and I see your ass. Let me give Candace Owens a little news flash here. Bitch, you don't sit up there on some hill and tell me who ate the cabbage. You have the left boosting you, the left loving you, the left promoting you with your royal husband, who we're about to expose. So get ready for that, George.
Damn, Alex, that check must have cleared quite well, sir. You were her ally, Alex, just a few days ago, all on the anti-Trump thing and talking about how the Epstein stuff was all just horrible and you don't know what's going on, but you know that your leaders are now corrupt. Then all of a sudden, yeah, Alex, it is my opinion, brother, that a check has hit your bank account. That's my opinion, Alex. I get to have it. Put it up full mass. This is interesting. Alex Jones took his ally, at least once upon a time, fellow far-right conspiracy theorist Candace Owens to task this week, dubbing her, quote, the Empress of Dark Q. No racism here at all. There's more. And arguing her various conspiracy theories surrounding Charlie Kirk's assassination are all nonsense. Y'all, this is the pot calling the kettle black, and I don't mean to be racial in that connotation. Alex Jones, the man who lost everything, including his wife, because of conspiracy theories and some alcohol, I believe, is saying that Candace Owens' conspiracy theories are just too much to stomach. The man who claimed that children who had been killed in a mass shooting were actually alive and the parents were lying, and lost his empire because of it. This same individual, put him back up, is saying that Candace Owens has gone too damn far. Quote, I dub her the Queen of Dark Q, the Empress of Dark Q. You got the QAnon, you got the Blue Anon. You now have the Candace Anon. End quote. He would also accuse Owens and her husband of being MI6 operatives. Okay, hold on. There's more. So Owens responded. He done called this woman the B word. He really must have got a great check. He calls this woman the B word, goes all out. Owens would respond to Jones by posting, quote, Alex Jones telling his audience my husband is MI6, it's hilarious. Guess he left the part out where I met my husband through InfoWars host Paul Joseph Watson. Here's a picture from that fateful night in December of 2018. Thank you, Alex. Once again, that check must have been mighty, mighty sweet. So I want to remind everyone, this is the same guy that brought us this.
I don't always hang out on Christmas Eve or New Year's with my Labubu, but when I do, I hang out with this little particular guy right here. He's not a Democrat, he's not a Republican, he's a populist, he's a freedom fighter, he's libertarian. He believes in team humanity. And well, he likes InfoWars, Alex Jones and Elon Musk, but most importantly, he likes 6'7". 6'7", baby. That's right, going to 2026. 6'7", then the year 2027. 6'7", 6'7".
So that stands in Alex Jones' defense. The man isn't all the way home at times. Deal with it, Alex. We all have off days, man. I definitely have mine. So there are some historical dynamics here. Once again, he called this woman the B word for daring to create conspiracies about Charlie Kirk. How dare this person do the same thing Alex Jones does every day of his life? Here it is.
Before you're offered a national TV show, before you're offered a major record deal, they get you in a room and they say, listen, we want you to reject Jesus Christ and pledge yourself to Lucifer. But they were very serious about the cat and its value, and they may want the cat for the Sandy Hook families. So the deal's broke. You guys aren't getting the cat.
Unlike Fauci, I don't tell lies. You got that? That's my secret. My brain becomes more powerful every day because I've trained myself not to lie to myself, not to lie to my audience, and not to lie in front of God. I'm not into self-harming, but I just archetypally want to take this dagger and just cut a finger off right on air to show you how much I appreciate you and what you've done.
is giving up a finger to beat these people's nothing. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Serious crap. That's why genitals, I don't care if you're black or white, are a third the size they were of a 1960s male. So the media makes jokes about that a few months ago when I gave the example of, if your daddy's Johnson was a foot long, yours is 6 inches long. And if yours was 6 inches, your son will be 3 inches. And the one with it won't even have a penis. So we make jokes about that all day long, but this isn't a game.
Sorry you're going through that, Alex. The gay frogs the man has a heart for the heterosexual frogs in the community. Okay. All right. I'm for the life of me, I don't know why Candace Owens responded to him seriously, to be quite honest with you. Candace Owens, someone I don't agree with on everything, has said some things I do agree with lately. But so did Alex Jones until this happened. And now he's enemy number one against Candace Owens. But Candace, Senator, could have just played that reel of his historical commentary and not said anything. But what say you about the whole debacle?
Well, she clapped back. Candace is very good at the clap back. As my grandmother used to say, a broke clock can be right twice a day. And so that is in the case of Candace Owens, Alex Jones, or anybody else for that matter that we typically do not agree with. Like, I just sense a little bit of jealousy here. I mean, yeah, you're right about the check. Either he cashed it or it's on his way. But I just sense a little jealousy. And the man, I fear for his health. Because I thought he was about to explode. So I want 2 words for Alex Jones. Seek help.
Yeah,
please.
It's a little intense, brother. Intense,
just a little bit.
Go see the heterosexual frogs. See how they do. All right, we got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
There's one reason why healthcare is so messed up in this country, and that's because of our money in politics situation. Because those industries that are deeply corrupt can just simply purchase all of Congress. And then the problem never gets fixed because of that bribery. Mike.
Yeah, I mean, it's greed, and it's the greed of politicians, right? I mean, so everything they do is dictated by the donors and the money. I mean, I shouldn't say that, not everything. A lot of what they do is, and I do think that there are people who do things in spite of the fact that they have to raise money and often don't get that money and often don't win because they don't, but are in there fighting for ideals that they believe in. Bernie Sanders is certainly an example of someone like that.
I'm back to gaslighting. Did you and I talk about gaslighting on Old School?
Probably.
That boss gaslit all his female employees. People who manipulate others like that make you feel like you're the weirdo. Why won't you punch yourself in the face? What is wrong with you? And you're like, oh my God, I feel so bad. Why didn't I just punch myself in the face and poke my eye out? I'm 47 and I just figured it out like earlier this year.
You figured out somebody was doing it to you, or that you were
that it was that it would have been happening my whole life and I didn't realize it.
Right.
You want to know the 3 shows that I'm watching lately? Shogun, Anjin-san. Those guys are badasses. Then you go to the Duttons, Yellowstone. Now, they don't always do it right, but they are badasses. But the 3rd show has the biggest badasses of all, the Young Turks. Live every weekend. Sick that I was so good. God damn it. Okay, live. Weekdays at 6 o'clock Eastern. That's what I meant. Anjin-san.
How do you know if you're a populist? Easy. Do you work for the donor class? You don't? Great, you're a populist. Okay, so the establishment takes money from the donors and serves the donors. Mainstream media takes money from advertisers, and they are giant corporations themselves, and they work for themselves, and they work for the powerful. If you care about the average person, and you want the average person to have better health care, better wages, a better life, and you hate corruption, congrats, you're a populist.
All right, Amazon Prime members, here's how you can subscribe for free on Twitch. Start by linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and then click that little subscribe or resubscribe button below the stream on Twitch. Scroll down and select the subscribe free with Prime button, and then you're finished. Close out immediately and share your little subscription alert with the chat. Send a cute message along with it and bathe in the sweet, twitchy, Bezos-funded love. Hashtag Bezos Bucks.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. I want to stop for a moment to give a huge shout out and a big I love you to my daughter, Sabrina. I was with her during the Christmas break. I decided to break with tradition. She's in college in Texas. And so instead of her coming here for her break, I went to Texas. Now, I don't particularly like to be in Texas, but for my baby girl, I would travel to the ends of the world. And I spent a week there, had a great, great time catching up, hearing about all the college stories. And she said something to me that brought tears to my eyes. It was my last day there. We went to an outlet because she's very practical. She doesn't like a lot of flash, and she doesn't overspend. She's too frugal, in my opinion, but God bless her for being that. She said, when you come back, I want you to meet my friends. We go to, and they have their events and groups that they frequent together. And she says, yeah, they all watch your show. And so I want to give a big shout out also to my daughter's friends, to Stephen F. Austin University, Division A. I'm very thankful for the support. All right, make sure you take care of my baby girl. Okay, we got a lot of comments. Read as many as I can. Guam Capsize Dragon says, they're worried about Christians dying. Newsflash, almost all of Venezuela, they're Christians. Great point. Great point. So how does MAGA reconcile going to war with them? They don't. They never reconcile. That's because they didn't have to reconcile domestically their inaccuracies and hypocrisies. What makes you think, or anyone think, that they would reconcile their hypocrisies internationally? Our international policies have always been significantly more hypocritical than our domestic ones. All right. And too cool for a dragon named Dragon. Speak for yourself, Alex. Obviously, you have issues in that. I should have read the whole thing before I started reading. I'm committed now. I'm halfway there. Okay. Too cool for a dragon named Dragon says, speak for yourself, Alex. Obviously, you have issues in that department personally, but you should probably best keep it to yourself. I read the statement. I agree with you. Christina Lisa Brown says, Nina Turner for president 2028. Now that would be the site right there.
Ooh, Doc,
I know we put her on the spot every time she comes.
Every time. But you know what, Doc? I really do count it all joy and just a blessing, because it's not like, people are asking everybody to
That's
run for
right. There you
president
go.
on a regular basis.
There
So
you
I'm
go.
very, very honored. And I love the indisputable audience.
And
So
that's
thank
the
you.
reason.
Yeah.
That's the reason wherever you go and whatever capacity you serve, you would do it with honor and distinction, not because you give a damn about the office as much as you give a damn about the sacredness of the people that put you there.
Amen.
And that part. That separates you from every other leader, in my opinion. All right. And Neon Death 07, a parking spot. Yeah, there you go. And this is a great point. Zangari RC, isn't the Ethiopian Bible the oldest collection of the books? Correct. That is correct. The Ethiopian version is the oldest version. And it was the version that was in circulation for hundreds of years prior to the canonization through Catholicism movements and then the Protestant movement.
Oh my God, Doc, I just want to jump in here. I'm so glad that they said that. My dad just recently ordered himself an Ethiopian Bible. So what a great point. That's just another reason why educating yourself, you know, and you don't have to be in a formal classroom. Just learning some stuff about this country and the world, it really does help. And the Trump, this really is the dumbing down of America. I mean, it didn't just start with this presidency, but he's taken great delight in the dumbing down of America. But kudos to our audience member. Who brought that.
Very much so.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to take a quick break. We got more on the other side. Indisputable. Stick and stay.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to Big Pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor or concern for whose toes we might step on or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
You are the media revolution. You are much needed.
TYT! TYT! The place is like 95% TYT on.
You guys, the Young Church, which is my favorite channel, we're getting that message out.
Frank and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
All the people who support us on the internet, that's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning. They seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive.
All right, good to be back with you. Hope everyone is doing well. All right, we told you this would happen. The Trump administration now basically ending racial discrimination complaints from colleges and universities. Put it up full mass. Here we go. Black students who experience racial harassment, bullying, disproportionate discipline, and other race-based discrimination at a school under Trump are finding the education department is no longer interested in holding the offender or offenders of a local school system, etc., accountable. That's according to two separate recently published investigations by ProPublica and the Washington Post. Now, you have a Department of Civil Rights, inside of your Department of Education. You have a Department of Education that has enforcement rights by administrative law. Meaning, if the Department of Education funds your institution, it could be a K through 12, it could be by way of a state grant that the state then gives out or chooses who receives it locally. It could be a college or university. If the Department of Education is involved, the federal entity, you have to follow particular guidelines. One, you can't actively discriminate against students or faculty, staff, based on immutable factors. Keep that in mind. During the Donald Trump administration, Trump's second term in office, the Education Department's Office of Civil Rights, the OCR, the office that was developed for civil rights, has now dismissed thousands of civil rights investigations and has only opened 14 new investigations into allegations of racial harassment of black students, while more than 500 complaints of racial harassment has been filed since January 20th, ProPublica reported. So roughly 50 racial harassment cases were resolved by OCR over the last 3 years under the Biden administration, usually through agreements with school districts requiring changes in their policies and practices and establishing independent monitors for years or months to make sure the districts followed through. As it has been historically, the Department of Education's Civil Rights Division under Biden was focused on ensuring equal opportunities for students of color. Why? Because statistically, they are the most disenfranchised demographic. They are disenfranchised by way of economic opportunity, access to technology, and mobility. So they are a specific demographic to target for equitable outcomes. It's real simple, it's in the data. There's more. But nearly a year since Trump has taken office, the Office for Civil Rights has not entered into a single new resolution agreement, not one, involving racial harassment of students. ProPublica found this in their data. Meanwhile, the agency is prioritizing investigations of alleged discrimination affecting white students and anti-Semitism complaints and policies regarding transgender students. During the first 6 months of the year, OCR required schools to make changes and agree to federal monitoring in 59 civil rights cases, compared with 336 during the same period last year. A previous Washington Post analysis found this data. Most, 89% of those cases involved disability rights. Disability rights. There's more. But the investigation highlights cases where severe racial harassment against black students has been alleged or substantiated through local and Department of Education investigations, but the federal government has not followed through on enforcement action or have decided to abandon the investigation altogether. Put it up. Let's go to a middle school. Ironically, this is Lubbock Cooper Laura Bush Middle School. In 2023, the OCR launched investigations into a Texas school district after several alleged incidents of racial bullying shocked the community and made national headlines. One case involved allegations that white students accosted black students with racial slurs such as the N-word and porch monkey, told them to, quote, go pick cotton, end quote, and played the sounds of cracking whips on their cell phones at black children as they walked the hallways of a middle school. A year ago, an investigator from the OCR was planning to visit the area, community members told the Post, and complainants hoped that afterward the federal government would negotiate protections for minority students in the county, where about 8% of the students are black. But the visit never happened. And in March, the lawyer representing the families learned the education department investigator was terminated, along with more than 300 OCR employees. The Trump administration closed 12 regional civil rights enforcement offices, including the one in Dallas responsible for complaints in that county. No one from OCR has reached out to either the plaintiffs' attorneys or school district officials this year. Now you're starting to see the plan. Now you're starting to see cause and effect of a lack of administrative oversight that you pay for through your tax dollars. It is amazing that because of the efforts of Elon Musk and Trump, when they decided to basically get rid of all of these federal regulatory systems and agencies and fired government employees to a record number, and some after the government shut down were not even brought back. Why is it that you still pay the most in taxes? Because obviously it's not going to these employees anymore. Since then, the Post reports that the Lubbock NAACP has been bombarded with complaints about racial injustices in the schools, including, quote, a black high school football player was called the B word and the N word by white players during a game in September with no consequence, his mother said. A black 12-year-old boy falsely accused last December of touching a white girl's breast was threatened and interrogated by police at the school without his parents and sentenced to a disciplinary alternative school for a month, his grandfather recounted. A black honor student was wrongly accused by a white teacher of having a vape pen. It was a pencil sharpener, and sentenced to the alternative school for a month this past fall for the mistake of the educator. In an email to the Post about these complaints, Julie Hartman, press secretary of legal affairs for the education department, wrote this, quote, these complaints of racial bullying were filed in 2022 and 2023, meaning that the Biden administration had more time to investigate this than the Trump administration has been in office. The Trump administration's OCR will continue vigorously enforcing the law to uphold all American civil rights, end quote. She did not respond to a question about whether the agency had opened any investigations into discrimination against black students since Trump has taken office. The OCR did, however, reach out in July to Jefferson County Public Schools in Louisville, Kentucky. ProPublica reported to sanction it for efforts to address discrimination against black students. So that got their attention. That's what their resources went. That's what your tax dollars paid for. Now, if you have racism in your school, no problem. If you're trying to combat it and the victims happen to be people of color or children of color, now you have the full authority of the government's attention. In September 2024. In September 2024, under the Biden administration, the district had agreed to address OCR's finding that it disproportionately disciplined black students. We read this report to you on air, that it disproportionately disciplined black students and to place measures to halt this unfair treatment. They found it in the data. This year, Trump's administration, the Department of Education, warned the district that it will not tolerate efforts to consider racial disparities in discipline practices and accused the district of, quote, making students less safe. Then it revoked a nearly $10 million federal magnet school grant and chastised the district for having sent extra funding to schools with more students of color. They took the money away from the babies. They took the money away from the students because they needed to make a political point about how racist they are willing to be. The district revised its school funding formula in response, but has asked an administrative law judge in the education department to reinstate the grant, which is designed to help further school desegregation nationwide and ensure all students have access to high quality education. Last year, we covered when white students in the Southwick Tolan Granville Regional School District in his community had a mock slave auction. This was on Snapchat, bidding for the sale of black students. It prompted a federal complaint filed with the DOE's Office of Civil Rights by a 13-year-old black girl who was bid on during the damn auction, followed by a lawsuit filed in a Massachusetts state court in July, accusing the Southwick District of allowing racism to persist unchecked. The district agreed to address racial bullying, and they agreed to be monitored by the state attorney general through this year. The federal investigation is allegedly ongoing. Quote, they're breaking people. They're breaking people. Phyllis Grant, a longtime leader of the county NAACP, told the Post, referring to local schools' treatment of black children. Quote, it's just open season on our students. The districts know that OCR has been dismantled and there's no urgency to fix these issues. Grant told the Post, it's on the community and it's on the parents to be factual, vocal, and not quit. This is so sad. To the good people of Lubbock County, to the NAACP leadership, before the OCR office was developed, the NAACP, under the legal leadership during his legislative or his legal days, Thurgood Marshall, before he became a Supreme Court justice, Thurgood Marshall worked on behalf of the NAACP, traveling all around America, defending cases just like this, getting denied access to courtrooms, having to work under the tutelage of underqualified white attorneys just to have his presence in the courtroom, but he did. And because of his successful lawyering, offices like the OCR were created. He later became appointed to the Supreme Court. Now, he also had something else. He had a budget, not a large one. Didn't get paid anywhere near what he deserved. But he was able to travel. He was able to pay his bills, take care of his family. To the NAACP, local and national, your regulatory agencies that you worked for and you helped build are gone. If they are there, they are run by the same individuals who are there to dismantle them. You will have to fight this in the streets, with protest and attention gathering, education, and the courtroom. Which also means you have to donate to make sure the Office of Legal Affairs at every NAACP is properly funded so that this work can be maintained and enhanced that we've started. All right, Senator, thoughts here.
I agree with everything that you said, Doc. I mean, this is chilling. And it is just a reminder that as much as things change, the more things change, rather, the more they stay the same. And what's especially chilling about this is the fact that those students were mimicking the behavior of the man that we highlighted earlier in I Wish a Karen Wood segment. So the notion that somehow anti-Black bigotry is just going to die off with a new generation has just been shattered, and it's shattered over and over and over again. I love your call out to the national NAACP and the local. First of all, thank you for the work that you're doing. And they are going to have to take up the mantle of their historic actions with Justice or lawyer Thurgood Marshall at the time, and he became a Supreme Court justice, I believe, in 1967. But they're going to have to take that back up, Doc. I mean, there is a force here. There's an anti-Black force, and the Trump administration is not afraid and not ashamed to show it. And once you find an administration that is using systems, see, we're not just talking about individual prejudice or bigotry. We're talking about systemic power, the full force and weight of the federal government to cultivate anti-Black bigotry and racism, and not to protect Black students and other able students and other students of color. We got a problem. So we do need the NAACP to take up its historic mantle.
That's right. Well said. And that's why I never besmirched legacy organizations, because they are still very useful, even if there are some bumps in the road. Senator, always a pleasure have you on the program. Tell people how they can follow you and check out your great work.
Great being with you, Doc, as always. Nina Turner on Twitter, Nina Turner, Ohio on the gram. And I want to say Happy New Year to each and every one of you, just in case I'm not back on before then.
And Happy New Year back to you, dear sister. Thank you for all you do. Look forward to greater things in 2026. All right. Remember, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.